everyone. Today our topic is the use of global data citizenships, ideas to address the climate change and ensuring the environmental sustainability. Hi everyone, my name is Lao Yancy. Global citizenships means identifying as part of our global communities beyond borders. Global data citizenships focus on using data responsibility to solve the world's issue. It involves the digital literacies, ethical data practice, and using the digital tools to address problems like climate change. Climate change is a global challenge that annoys the borders. Global data citizenships help us and enabling people to collect, share, and analyze environmental data. Platforms like Lochas and global citizenships initiatives use technology to monitor and tackle climate issues. This report analyzes how global data citizenship supports the environmental sustainability.
Hi, this is Namkai Yubi. Across the globe, we are facing some serious environmental challenges: air pollution, climate change, water scarcity, and the loss of natural resources. These aren't just scientific or political issues. These are human issues, and they affect all of us. We need collective action, not just from governments, but from communities and from individuals like you and me. The importance of global agreements like the Paris Agreement or the Stockholm Conference emphasize that everyone deserves a voice in environmental decision making. One of the biggest issues is unequal participation. Poor countries are often left out of major environmental decisions, even though they are the most vulnerable to climate impacts. Meanwhile, wealthier nations tend to dominate thanks to their access to funding, technology, and political influence. Another challenge is the lack of respect for local knowledge. The voices of the global south and indigenous communities are too often sidelined. Yet these groups have long histories of sustainable living and unique insights into caring. At its core, eco-cosmopolitanism is about blending our connections to local places, what scholars call a sense of place with a broader awareness of the planet, a sense of planet. It's the idea that we don't have to choose between our local identity and global responsibility. We can hold both at once. This is where the concept of globalization comes in, acting locally while thinking globally. A big part of this approach is education, specifically eco-pedagogies. They encourage justice, critical thinking, and respect for a different perspective, not just teaching facts, but transforming mindsets.
Hi, I'm Yu Noemi, and I'll analyze the collected data from different aspects. For feminist environmentalism, EGC ignores the gender effect of the climate crisis. Women, which account for 70% of the world poverty, face disproportionate burdens like water scarcity and food insecurity. Yet, EGC's climate adaptation projects rarely consult them. From policy pragmatism aspect, the Paris Agreement emphasizes on collective responsibility, but it overlooks the systematic barriers like budget shortage and technological gaps and centralized governance. Effective policy requires resources redistribution and decentralized decision making, and we should amplify the marginalized voices. For the technology and digital citizenship, digital tools have enabled collaboration, connecting global communities. For instance, virtual platforms enable cross-border climate networks, allowing researchers to share knowledge worldwide. However, unequal internet access deepens existing inequality. Low-income communities often face marginalization. For educational framework, the colonial education models empower marginalized groups but face institutional resistance. The colonial educational system still to outdated structures, rejecting approach that redistribute power to marginalized communities.
Yes, I'm Cheng Next, I will talk about the relevance of dataset. Greenhouse gas emissions have drive climate change from 2010 to 2020. Over 196 cities were referenced regional difference. Emergencies and economies face global environmental crisis from industrialization. Next. The top chart shows India's per capita CO2 rose 10% from 1.9 to 2.1 tons between 2022 and 2023, and others shows the EU cut emissions 9% from 6.2 to 5.6 tons over the same period. This contrast shows EU portfolios while India's growth highlights the challenges of balance development and emissions. Next. Marine plastic pollution also indirectly fuels climate change. Until 2023, UN reports say global plastic production will reach 460 million tons, with only 9% recycled. This pollution makes climate improve growth. Next, I will share with you about the environmental sustainable of renewable energy. Norway uses 61.4% renewables of hydropower, cutting emissions and create good jobs. Southern Alabama with just 0.1% clean energies, focus high emissions and ecological issues. This shows how renewables drive sustainability. According to IRENA data, China, the US, and Japan lead the road in solar PVs in sailor nations, showing significant annual growth. Densities has attracted major green developments and further industrial clusters, driving process towards global environmental sustainable. Next. From 2022 to 2023, global solar and wind capacity growth 87% annually, showing renewables are powerful to achieve sustainable. Next, at the empirical level, California straight emissions rose cut PM 2.5 by 28% from 2020 to 2010 and 2020, while Daniel's average of 88 milligrams from 4 times the HWO limit highlights the bad range of drop. In the theoretical levels, commits says data banking and chance participation, favorite skill and perfect engagement, while chapters at each other top shape global collaborations for environmental solutions, guided includes sustainability efforts. Next, however, let's wait for me to show our online service and analysis. Now let's look at that service have a 68% of developed countries respondents say they use tools like subtitles, imagery to track Amazon's deforestation, but 42% say lack of digital skills, especially for elderly. Highlights the list for inclusive tech promotions for sustainability. On the right side, 15% trend happens to provide data grades in individual eco-extracts. Next, in the last part, quantitative analysis with Excel. Data accuracy is key. Here's outlines like 0 tons CO2 per capita, whereas spotted as unreasonable, we cross-check with the global carbon project and correct data. As drop rate recently fell by 12% of average from the road Africa's city. This ensure data complex and critical from related analysis. Next, we further various the two sets of correlations with the help of Excel data analysis tools. First, highest digital literacy strongly linked to more citizen status used for environmental actions, like using apps to report illegal dumping. Second, renewable energy share have moderate positive correlation with GDP per capita. Golden Syria's 100% renewable electric source policies can break equal determination by transition economic needs. Pass the mic to next speaker.
Then is the analysis. The first part is the real-time information and open access. real-time information and access performed enhancing and data sharing, leading the significance and achieve advancement in environmental protection and climate policy. Global Forest Watch has used statistics to against the illegal logging, which caused the Brazil has decreased 50% of their illegal logging. The C3S provide new climate data for free to EU, which improve their governance. And the region that uncertain climate project dropped by 40%. Then is the policy. The implementation of policy and accountability related to them have greatly strengthened the last few years due to the development of a framework and monitoring system that assess the achievement of global climate goals. The UNFCCC in 2022 utilized their third-party verification tools progress 25% faster toward the meeting their national determined contribute. And also, a climate TRACE study reported in Science in 2024 demonstrated 80% of different emission reporting are eliminated by climate TRAC, illustrating its value in filling missing data gap. Next. Then it's citizens engagement and behavior change. Technology has enabled greater collective action for sustainability by changing citizens' participation and encouraging digital behavior change. For example, EcoBuddy encourages self-sustainability practice like food waste, minimization and carbon footprint tracking using personal data, which cause carbon tracking apps for users which are able to reduce their emission by appropriate 2.5 tons per year. And also in India, 30% of the air quality have been changed by using air fire various data which increase the enforcement of local policy. Next. Sorry. Then is the challenge that faced by the world. The correct information has become powerful tools for tracking the data. However, countries like China and India have placed the national security restriction on the movement of sensitivity and environment data due to the lack of standardized data system. Also, the gap of the technology facility like Africa only have 35% of countries being able to actively participate in creating climate data set. Private also an important problem. A book called Big Data and Society argue that in order to achieve balance and close the population, anonymity must be preserved.
Let me conclude. The global data citizenship use the digital tools and the data to tackle the climate change. It requires digital and data literacy. People monitor the pollution, track the deforestation, and calculate the carbon footprints to promote the sustainability. Survey shows 68% of people see the digital tools as key, with 55% using the carbon calculators. The EU uses data for emissions shrinking. Challenges include unequal technology access and low data literacies, especially in developing countries. To improve, we must ensure equal tech access and boost literacies. This lets everyone contribute to the environmental aspect and protections, regardless of the locations or economic status. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you.